It's Balatro, but for Cribbage. I haven't actually played Balatro yet myself, because I knew it'd suck up all my time, but then I happened to see Cribbish, and I thought, hey, I used to play the heck out of Cribbage with my grandpa, may he rest in peace, and the rest of my family, may they rest in peace, but alive though, and I'll give this a shot. So yeah, thanks to the developer for providing this key for this review, by the way. I came in with expectations of Cribbish just being a lazy copy, but while I admit the graphics and audio are fairly generic, it's certainly not a lazy game. When you first start, there's a well-explained tutorial for what will likely feel overwhelming to see in screenshots and gameplay videos. The basics of Cribbage are also explained, so you don't need to have played the actual card game before. Even if you know how to play Cribbage, this game tweaks it a bit to make it work as a single-player game. So, instead of competing against other players, your goal is to clear round after increasingly difficult round by passing a certain point threshold, with a limited number of hands dealt to you. Each hand actually becomes 2 hands, once you determine which cards to remove from your main hand, and combine with the 2 face-down cards in the crib, and the single face-down card, that's called the starter card, which is shared between the crib and the main hand. The goal is to give yourself the best chance, or maybe even certainty, of the highest scoring sets once the starter card and the face-down crib cards are revealed. Scoring sets are your typical pairs, runs, and flushes, and especially for Cribbage, cards that add up to 15, along with a few other odds and ends involving jacks. But let's say you have bad luck and are dealt a terrible hand. In Cribbish, you also have the choice to discard and redraw additional cards a limited number of times per round. Alright, now let's assume that you achieved the target number of points in the round. At this point, you'll get rewarded with money depending on how well you did. Then you go to the shop screen in between rounds, where you can spend your money on a random selection of cards to add to the deck, passive perks that tweak the gameplay, like flushes only needing to match in color, single-use items, like giving yourself an extra hand for a round, reward upgrades, like increasing the point score of a pair or how much money you receive after a round, and card modifiers, like changing a card's suit, rank, or applying a bonus effect to a card. If you've played this sort of game before, you know it's all about getting the items, perks, and cards that synergize with each other to give you the best odds at success, and send your scores through the roof with multipliers. For example, there are cards with effects attached to them which multiply the point total of the set they're in, or even the total of your entire hand. If you get a few of those at once, stack your deck full of duplicate useful cards like 5s, remove or change the less useful cards, change most of the suits to spades, have perks that boost flushes and spades, well, soon you'll just be giggling with glee as the points roll in. Here, Crib, you can have that. Ah! It's so much. I can't lose at this point. I can't lose. Woo! 2 million points! That was just me on casual difficulty, but there are quite a few unlockable decks with more challenging modifiers, such as fewer hands per round, each with multiple difficulties that adjust the point thresholds. And I love how the game keeps track of which difficulties you've cleared which decks with. It really makes you want to fill in everything, which could take a very long time considering it took me over 2 hours for a full playthrough on casual. Though more recently it's more like an hour and 45 minutes for a run, maybe? Even on casual, the rounds aren't just about reaching a point goal. The 3rd and 4th rounds of every 4-round set also have secondary win conditions, or possibly just challenges that make it harder. For example, a requirement to have a run that also contains cards adding up to 15. Or difficulty modifiers like all hearts are dealt face down, so you know the suit but only have a clue on the rank based on its sort order in your hand. In addition to unlocking different and harder decks, many of the items from the shop are unavailable until unlocked as well, whether by an achievement like get 6 of a kind, or something you're likely to unlock through normal gameplay, like spend $1,000 in the shop. Those might not be actual examples, but it's something like that. If I had to have any criticisms for this game, it's really just that the graphics are very generic, the audio is generic, everything's functional, but it feels very, default. And also, when you finally do get to an ending, it's pretty anticlimactic. It's just, you won. Not like Slay the Spire or something, wherever it's like hyping you up with the final boss fight. Another thought, though not necessarily a criticism, is that as your points get so high, it's very difficult to actually calculate on your own what score you're going to get. So sometimes you don't know if you're actually going to pass the threshold or not. You can sort of estimate, but it gets very hard to actually calculate it yourself. So you end up just kind of hoping you're going to make it, and you might not make it and throw away your hour and a half of gameplay, and that sucks. But what can you do? I think there is an item for that, actually, though. When I was playing, I couldn't help but think, if my grandpa could take a break from whatever he's doing up in heaven and check out this game for a moment, he'd probably be like, huh, that's neat. Anyway, it is available on Steam if you want to buy it. Check it out. I think it's cool. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.